Hi, my name is Colin Bernd, Associate Financial Advisor at Admin Partners, to provide this week's market commentary. The new year is here, and before getting into markets and data, it is worth pausing for perspective. We are now closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 2000. Time moves quickly, and few people have understood the power of time better than Warren Buffett. He once said, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Warren Buffett, now 95 years old, stepped back after 6 decades of leading Berkshire Hathaway at the end of 2025. As such, I felt it appropriate to make this commentary Warren Buffett themed to highlight his lessons, famous quotes, and impact on finance throughout the decades. Buffett's annual letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders has been a must-read material for investors. Each year, it blended clear thinking, simple language, and lessons shaped by a lifetime at the center of American business. This year's letter felt different. Rather than focusing on markets or deal making, the letter was deeply personal. It read less like a corporate update and more like a reflection on leadership, judgment, and what truly matters over the long run. One line in particular stood out. Buffett wrote, "Decide what you would like your obituary to say and live the life to deserve it." It is a powerful reminder that success is not just about outcomes, but about consistency between values and actions. Legacy is not something you talk about at the end, it is something you build every day. Another Buffett quote I always enjoyed is, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." This idea showed up clearly in markets in 2025. Investors who stayed disciplined and avoided emotional decisions were rewarded. The Nasdaq index finished up the year just over 20%. The S&P 500 gained roughly 16.5%, while the Dow Jones rose about 13%. One of the most dominant themes beneath those numbers was artificial intelligence. But many of the strongest performers were not the most talked about names. Instead, companies providing the infrastructure behind AI led the way. SanDisk, Western Digital, and Seagate Technology were three of the top four performers in the S&P 500 as demand for storage accelerated. One of Buffett's most famous quotes states, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." While stocks had a solid year, precious metals had an even better year. Gold and silver posted their strongest annual performance since 1979. Even with a modest pullback at the end of the year, gold finished up more than 60%, and silver rose over 140%. Those moves reflected caution as much as conviction. Periods of uncertainty tend to push investors toward assets that feel stable and enduring. Buffett has long emphasized that restraint is a strength. Avoiding unnecessary risk can be just as important as chasing opportunity. Buffett also famously stated two things. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing, and only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. As we move into the first full trading week of 2026, uncertainty remains a central theme. Developments in Venezuela have captured global attention following the abrupt change in leadership, and while global oil markets are not expected to see major disruptions, situations like this underscore how quickly political uncertainty can influence markets. This week also brings a heavy slate of economic data. The December jobs report, private payroll numbers, job openings, jobless claims, and layoff data will all shape expectations. Forecasts point to slower job growth, with unemployment potentially improving slightly after reaching a 4-year high in November. The Federal Reserve will be watching closely as another rate decision approaches later this month. In his final letter, Buffett also shared a broader message about growth and perspective. One quote that I loved said, "Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. Learn at least a little from them and move on. It is never too late to improve." He also wrote, "Greatness does not come about through accumulating great amounts of money, publicity, or power. Whether you help someone in any of 1,000 ways, you help the world. Kindness is costless, but also priceless." Warren Buffett's farewell was not really about investing. It was about how to think, how to act, and how to measure success over a lifetime. Define your legacy with intention, treat people well, keep learning. I think these are important lessons that we can all learn from as we embark on a new year. That approach works in stock markets and in life. The rest, as Buffett might say, is just compound interest. Thanks for listening and have a great week.